that's why we reiterate your emotions. Like, you have to look at it, because if your kidneys keep getting infected and you keep having UTIs, you better look at your fear, because your body listens and the infections are there, and your body's like, I need help. And that's why I think, and I love Ayurvedic and Chinese medicine, where you think, I've got to get to a point where I'm in balance, because God made us in that aspect. Like, I think it's amazing. Like, we're supposed to be in balance. So we're supposed to have enough energy in our organs that share relationships so well, like you would have a good relationship with your family, that you each carry your own load. So every organ is supposed to carry its own load. And the organ is supposed to metabolize a certain type of emotion with its toxins related. Like, if I got anger, my liver is supposed to help metabolize those hormones. If I've got fear, bladder, kidney. Okay, so the list goes on. But when they communicate, that's why we talk about in Ancient Health Podcast about balance. So when there's a communication and not feeling numb, we want the body to like talk to itself and have a well-rounded, because when we talk about elements, remember this, guys, if you experience a negative emotion, like I'm numb or I'm angry, I feel this, and I pinpoint it to an organ, it's only because you're not sharing communication to your other organs. And that parasite could be in that main organ and draining your communication with the other. And better yet, when there's communication, where there's this flow of energy, how God created it. If I'm a wood element, my main organs are my liver and my gallbladder, because I'm taller, I'm thin. That means the positive aspects of my personality should exhibit themselves. I should be a go-getter. I take an idea, I make it grow like the trees. I can make them spring forward. The negative aspects of it is I'm always angry. But you should have enough balance that when you get angry, you should let it pass right through you. Because God's in control. I trust that it's going to be okay. It should pass right through me. But when I hold on to it and I store it in that organ that's sick, I held on to it because that tells me I'm always angry. There could be a parasite in there. There could be an infection in there. So isn't it great? Is because if you really analyze it, you're like, I'm numb to myself. I'm not talking. They're not communicating. Parasites are building up. And I hope you guys that are listening to us, when we talk about emotions, I'm saying it's probably one of the most important parts of your whole being. Yeah. And then you can even go into your genetics about, is your dad angry? Is your mom angry? Is your mate have paralyzed will and complete fear in their lives? Does it resonate with you? It definitely can. So we don't say it negatively. We say it lovingly. We want you to find your element. We want you to find that positive aspect of who you are. But remember, if the parasite's always affecting your lymph nodes or something, look at that organ, look at that emotion and go, I'm numb to it. Why am I not going to it? And one more thing. I just say that when they give off the infection toxins in that area, remember, it decreases communication. So it makes you even more numb if you're not careful. And you got to look at that emotional aspect.
I think what I'm taking away from this whole conversation is that it is so critical that you get to know yourself. And I think that's really what we try to do on this whole platform, is really to help people educate people on their own bodies. But it's more than just understanding your body so that you can find a solution to your symptom or a solution to your health problem. It's knowing yourself in a way that nobody else probably will know, because it's changing all the time. Like you said, there's communication, there's frequency, there's this electrical component of our bodies. Like, we're energetic beings. So you've got to be able to have a finger on the pulse. Like, it's not a static, okay, I have one good evaluation of my body. This is what I am. This is who I am. This is how I feel. Like, it's a constant, it's constantly evaluating, but on that subconscious level of, hey, I think I need to stop. Like, I'm getting in a pattern where I can tell that there's imbalance in my body. Yeah. When you can take the time to really learn and process, like, what is my body actually trying to tell me? Like, what does it need?
Oh, that's so good, because, when we talk about, like, you get to a point where you're clearing out parasites, and guys, we'll tell you all some of the things we remedy with, but when you get to a point where you get to it with a parasite and you say, I get to a point like week and a half, 2 weeks, and I feel like bloating comes back, and you say, listening to your body. So why, like, sometimes, I hate to say, when you go to like a Chinese medicine practitioner, not putting down any Chinese medicine practitioner, but a lot of times they'll go and they say, well, they put needles in me, they did this, they really didn't tell me anything. they just sort of, they say, well, you got some spleen chi. And like, who out there is really going to know, like, I don't really know what the spleen chi means or anything. But knowing yourself is like why we talk about one of the biggest things I would tell everybody to do is get the circadian Ori clock. It's called the Chinese Ori, Horary, and study it. And you can find some good ones on the internet. It tells you the organ related, the time of day that you have symptoms, the emotions with it, and the symptomatology you can have. You can really research it out. But when I go back to my Chinese medicine practitioner, let's say a week and a half stops, and I want to know more about myself. And I go, okay, I stopped processing something for some reason. And then I go back and I try to find out from my practitioner what's going on. They're like, okay, well, your large intestine's really blocked up. Then I go to the chart at home and I go, oh, I've got control issues. What am I trying to control in my life?
That's crazy.
What am I trying to do to keep me from processing forward? What's making me feel like I can't move forward if it's a bladder? So I go with what they tell me, and then I go back and I look at it, and then I go meditate and pray about it. And I go, Lord, I'm Christian, so I pray about it. I'm like, what is going on in my life? Like, what am I doing that wouldn't help me go forward? And then I always say the symptoms, you stop being afraid of the symptoms so badly because you realize it's just a block of communications. And you're saying, well, there's some infection, the parasite. But I have to be open to the communications come to me. So they'll go, I don't want that. I feel like I have an anxiety attack. Oh, face it. Feel it.
Yeah.
Let it come through you. Yeah. Because you'd be surprised. The communication will open up and you're telling the rest of your body like, no, communication's fine. Do it. And I mean that, like, I just say that's how it's not simple, but like when we talk about like, what are the steps? And then I say with your Chinese medicine practitioner, we go like, here are some herbs that you need to take to help with this strengthening of the organ or to help with the parasites. But it's all about knowing who you are. It's all about how your body communicates within itself. And I used to always think that my favorite subject matter, even is like psychoneuroimmunology. It's like about how your brain interacts with your organs because your immune system reacts about how you think and how you view life. But there's such a quandary with parasites. They give off so many toxins. They've actually can create a quorum with you to where you actually get used to the way they feel. So let's say this. Okay, Courtney, let's go down there. This is fun. Let's say somebody in your life makes you feel afraid. And they make your bladder really tired. And then you accumulate parasites. And then you resonate with that parasite and it becomes normal to you. Yeah. You adapted. And the feeling that that person in your life gives you is related to the parasite in your life.
Oh my gosh.
Would you think then that you start to resonate with that person as a parasite in your life?
This is like blowing my mind to think about a little bit.
Yeah, that person in my life, blah, 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 is a parasite.
Yeah.
And you resonate with the parasite, and the parasite sits at home.
Now, this brings up something else that's so important because we're not just talking about our own individual body and the emotions we're feeling, but we're always in relationship with one another, whether they're friendships or it's a parent-child relationship or it's a romantic relationship. Those relationships have a direct correlation connection to the emotions that we're processing. Like we're receiving those emotions on a level that we really aren't aware of, especially if we're sharing space with people and it's like, you're just doing life, and it's like, well, no, I'm not stopping to think about, how my parenting or my relationship with my parents or whatever it is affecting me. It's like, that's just a relationship that exists, but you don't realize what it's doing to your own health.
No, you're right. It's like, and it's amazing that when people talk about getting rid of their parasites, and this may be kind of going a different route for most people, but this is a big thing in parasitic cleansing. Because this is a big thing in my practice, because I can sit there and give you all the herbs all day. I can tell you every single thing, and sometimes it keeps coming back, and I'm like, and most people come in and say like the relationships in their life and how they view them. Yeah. And then they let go of that. And then they get better. And then I'm not kidding, guys. I've seen patients that have like viewed somebody in their life as parasitic or it's just a detriment to their life. And they let go in a positive way or have amends with that person or something to have forgiveness in their heart. And they do the different things. And what it does is this is what they call standing wave theory. Is that if the parasite's in your bladder, your colon, or wherever it's at, and it's created a relationship with you, and you've related that and tagged it onto that emotion in your gut, and that gut emotion's related to a person. If you practice a complete opposite way of thinking of like within yourself, as in you're not trying, like, I don't want to be angry. I want to live in complete, like I want to live in love and I will live in forgiveness. You literally flip the waveform. You create, instead of the sine wave, you create the cosine wave. They call it out of phase in music. And so you can actually balance some of the signals. So the infection cannot keep that resonant wavelength with you, like connectivity, because you flipped it upside down. So the more you practice forgiveness or love and compassion on the outside, you're trying to set up your insides to where it's like, well, I don't really need you. You can't set up shop in here because I can't resonate with you anymore.
Yeah.